Alright, ladies and geniuses out there, this is another great game of StarCraft 2 played on the Southeast Asian server. In the lower left-hand corner, we have the red Protoss being represented by your favorite and my favorite breakfast food, Hashbrowns. In the upper right-hand corner, we have the blue Zerg being represented by your favorite and my favorite breakfast drink, MrCoffees. Should be a very interesting match here. Both these guys were level 1, and unranked, so who knows the skill level here. Early on, we're getting some chrono boosted out probes by Hashbrowns. Do have some scouting happening with the Overlord and the drone, and Mr. Hashbrowns is sending his little probe into the base here. He is going to wander around here and see what he can find. We do have the pylon going on the lower part for Mr. Hashbrowns. The drone of MrCoffees is going to scout around, is going to stand in the natural, possibly look to delay a very early expansion, or just wants to sit there and rest for a while. Up here we do have Hashbrowns wandering around in circles, looking like a complete retard, as it does look like he's probably delaying the natural, but in the process looking like a complete retard. And there we go. He did lay down a hatchery to delay the expansion here. Very good move by MrCoffees. Brilliant. Hashbrowns is ignoring that. He is going to build a cannon here, which will take that out. A very good fix as it walls off and does get rid of the hatchery. Still looking like a retard is Hashbrowns' probe here. Will get taken out by these dogs, I would imagine. He will send the one dog pursuit. That dog will stand in the middle and now will slowly chase down Hashbrowns' probe. Very well done by that small little dog. Over here, we do have the cannon finishing up. Should hit the hatchery. Hatchery will get canceled, I would like to imagine here. If MrCoffees is paying attention over here, the cannon will take a long time to take that down either way. It does appear that MrCoffees does think that he is ready to move in and make an attack. Does know the cannon is there. Still elects to engage the cannon. Not entirely sure MrCoffees has his coffees this morning, as that was not exactly the best engagement he could have hoped for, although they are dogs and don't cost anything. Still seem pretty pointless. He is going to head back down there with 4 more dogs. Is really on pursuit for this to work out here. Does have 7 dogs altogether on the field. This dog has been chasing the probe around for a little while. Probably is getting fairly tired doing so. MrCoffees really does need to figure out what he's going to do. I'm going to assume he's going to plant these dogs on the outside of the base. Did let the hatchery finish. Not entirely sure if that was the brightest of moves, but really has the intent of taking this cannon down. Maybe doesn't realize how fast dogs go down to cannons. Is feeding this cannon many dogs, and the Zealot is out. That will delay any more dogs from getting into the base. I would like to think here, yes. Too much at the door here. Still have the chase going on here. They are going around the right-hand side of the map here. Very well done here. That probe is extra fast. Maybe if we got some metabolic boost into the dogs, he would catch it. This hatchery is going to go down, which is really going to hurt for MrCoffees, as that was a fairly big investment that he let finish there. Zealot is out and beating on the dogs. I'm really wondering if MrCoffees is even paying attention to his dogs, as they seem to be running into death every which direction. Almost taken out by the Broodlings, which spawned out of the kill. Their dogs will finally get rid of the cannon here. Didn't really do a whole lot of good, as he did really invest a lot of money in the dogs compared to what it took for the cannon. But is keeping the pressure on, so maybe he did have a very smart plan. Could be a genius level Bronze League player. Who knows? Like I say, he's not quite bronze, so he could be a super expert for all we know, as he was unranked. Is going to try and take out these cannons again. He is slowly going to realize that he can continually send down small swarms of dogs and get them killed off, or he could just come down with a big group and get through the wall with some banelings or something like that, but I'm sure he'll figure that out soon. The probes did manage to kill off the dog that was running around the base. They have fended that off, and we will now get into a macro base game here, as nobody else has anything in each other's base. The dog will make its way into the base, really determined to get that probe. Does lose. Probe win. Success. Very well done, little probe. Little hash brown probe here. We should name him Little Hashy. Very well done. Are going to get the expansion up here. Does get the Nexus in the natural. In the meantime, we do have 2 expansions out for Mr. Hashbrowns. Really doesn't have, or MrCoffees, sorry, get my names confused. MrCoffees, with 2 expansions being laid down here, is going to start droning them up pretty quick and decide what he wants to go to a build from there. It doesn't really have anything other than the spawning pool. I would imagine a roach ward will get laid down here pretty quick. If we pull up our production tab here, we will see he has basically the hatchery, some dogs, and a queen going down. We are getting level 1 ground weapon out of Mr. Hashbrowns over here. Sorry, just Hashbrowns. It's MrCoffees and Hashbrowns. Gets very confusing when you're speaking of so much breakfast food in one game. Does get the 2 assimilators going down there. Very well done with the pylon in the back there. Assumes going to lay down some cannons, maybe to avoid some mutas. And over here, we do currently have dogs trekking across the map again. These are full Malamute Huskies, as they seem to have a lot of dogs that spit out of that base, and they are full of energy. I always love going into the cannon death. We will see what happens with these dogs. I would like to think they are scouting dogs. And yes, they have evolved the brain. Very good. Have decided to quit attacking the single cannon and are going to make sure we have no third expansion going up for just Hashbrowns. 4 Hashbrowns there. Do have the double overlord sitting over here. Nothing up at the third yet, but is slowly saturating the natural expansion here. Does get both his gases up here. Is really going for something with some heavy gases. He does have layer attack coming out right now. Does have the metabolic boost, so we will start seeing some speedlings in the field pretty quick here. Should be done here in about a minute or so here. Does have the overlord over here. I would imagine this is a cannon. Yes, it is. That should get rid of the overlord. Get rid of his vision out of the sight there. We do have a Stargate that has gone up. Do have the mothership out now. So our Protoss Hashbrowns has elected to go Stargate. Does have warp gate technology coming out as well. The dogs are currently scouting around each side of the map, really making sure that they do not get any expansion out of Hashbrowns. Layer technology is going to get him to go into what we will find out pretty quick when it finishes, but is getting the spore crawler in the mineral line, making sure it doesn't get harassed, and the spine crawler as well, really taking care of any harassment on the natural. Now, he does have the layer out. I would imagine pretty quick we will experience what he is going to go into. We are getting the ground armor out of Hashbrowns here. Brilliant. Do have the second spine crawler going down there. Couple probes coming out of Hashbrowns. Does get another gateway up here, is walling off his mineral line, making sure no dogs come running in there. Up here, if we go way up here, we do see the spire coming down for MrCoffees. I'd like to see where he's putting the spire. I could be blind here, might have it down in his natural somewhere. And there it is right there, right in behind the mineral line. Brilliant spot to keep it nice and hidden. And Hashbrowns, or MrCoffees, sorry, has elected to put some dogs outside of the base of Hashbrowns. We'll go in to see what is at that wall. Even if there was the one cannon left at the wall, I'm not entirely sure what he was going to see there. He did know there was one cannon that would be enough to kill him, but maybe want to run in just to see how many units he had sitting at the wall. Do have a hallucinated Phoenix on the field there. Will get some scouting done here. Hopefully gets up there. If he does see the spire, it's really going to help him a lot. We'll get into maybe a heavier Stalker build, or maybe even go into some heavy Phoenixes. Who knows? But we'll see here. As a good amount of Phoenixes are very good against Mutalisk. He does get in there, does see that naturals up. Will eventually fly around here. Would like to think we'll get around that spore crawler. Barely gets into the base here. Will be able to see the spire going down there. Whether or not he's able to determine that is a spire, he would have to assume so just based on the location. But could be any building hidden back there. Let's hope that he figures it is spire. He could be in for a rude awakening here. He is currently doing fairly well with his worker count here. If we pull up our units tab, he does have 41 workers to the 43 drones of MrCoffees. MrCoffee is getting very well saturated. I'm going to imagine he is going to get quite a few mutas out here. Does need the money, but does currently have a lot of gas saved up. So that is very good. Does have a few mutas comes out. Once he gets his mineral count up, we should see a mass muta attack coming in here to Mr. Hashbrowns, which will not be very good. Does have a couple Phoenixes ready, so he is fairly ready for some sort of muta, you would figure. Is getting a second Stargate, so very well could have figured that to be a spire, which seems to be what he is preparing himself for here. And in the meantime here, if we browse around the map here, we do see very good coverage by MrCoffees. Really could use some better creep spread, as I am a little bit disappointed in that, but fair enough. When you are going mutas, you don't really need a ton of creep spread either. So we do forgive on that. Does have a lot of overlords huddling in this area, having a little bit of a meeting. Apparently likes this as a spawning point. This overlord really doesn't like to go there. He's going to say, screw you guys, I'm making my own little team. And the mutas are coming out here. They are going to fly across the map here, possibly do a little bit of harassment in the main, I would like to imagine, or they're possibly just scouting to see what they're going to be up against here. They're going to slowly make their way across the map here. Do see there is no third placed here. Does know there's not a third over here, so should be pretty confident he is working on a Protoss who is working on 2 base. He is slowly getting that mineral count up. Our Protoss player, Hashbrowns, is acquiring a fair bit of minerals here, so does have a bit saved up. Could really do a lot here with that. Could get a mass army massed up pretty quick here, as we do have on the field here. If we go over to the units tab, 13 mutas on the field. Now this could do some damage, especially barring we only have a 1 cannon at the front of the base. So if he does start working on these pylons, gets that stalker there, could start to unpower some buildings. But in time, we do get the army up here. These guys should take care of the mutas quite easily here. Very well done by Hashbrowns to get them out of there. Really need to get some better micro out of MrCoffees, as he is just getting raped here. Every engagement he has, not good at all. Look at the Phoenixes. Wow, very good micro out of Hashbrowns there. That was brilliant. Does get a lot of them down to the red. Maybe should have looked at finishing them, but because they will regenerate that. All right, very good engagement for Hashbrowns. Coffees here does need to build up an army here. MrCoffees, I don't know if mass mute is the way to go after seeing what has been prepared by Hashbrowns, but we'll see what he's going to choose to do so with that. So currently, if we take a look at the army count, we do have 20 mutas on the field now. A lot of mutas just came out. 1 dog on the field, so obviously is really sticking to the mass muta here. Doesn't plan on building any sort of support unit for it. So we're going to see what happens here. 20 mutas is tough to deal with, but Hashbrowns does have an army that could easily take it just based on the amount of Phoenix he has. Does have the few stalkers. With good micro, those Phoenixes should be able to take down a good portion of them. But you combine that with the stalker count, could be deadly. Does have a lot of zealots in here, and being as MrCoffee doesn't have much to defend on the ground, this could be disaster. If they bypass each other, we could very well see a base race, but there's a lot of cannons in the base of Hashbrowns, so I don't know if it's going to go so well for MrCoffees. Does have 27 heading up here. We're going to find out what happens here. Is going to go down on this. Hashbrowns is deciding what to do. His army is not moving. We'll take out the cannons quite easily. Natural is really not defended that well with cannons. They will go down quickly. Natural could go, is going to choose to go for the base race. So he's going to first of all massacre the food count here. It really doesn't help us. MrCoffees had just too much overlords built there. Really didn't do much doing there. Is going to send back the Phoenix. Very smart move. Has a very good ground army which cannot be defended by MrCoffees. Therefore, we'll send the Phoenixes back here. They should be able to handle the mutas with good microing here, and they are going to start. Let's see who's got the better micro here. Does have the Phoenixes going around here. It is going to be an engagement head-on. The Phoenixes are going to fly and shoot, which is a very good ability. The mutas are just going to run. Not a good idea. Not a very good. It really needs to turn around and micro these mutas. This is not his best. He is going to lose left, right, and center. Lose each one of these mutas if he doesn't choose to turn around here. MrCoffees, I don't know what he's doing. He is going to try and go back and save the base, but you can't save the base if you're being hounded down by Phoenixes. Phoenixes, finally, we are going to get a bit of engagement. Really has given up and figured, you know what? My micro's so bad, I'm not even going to try and shoot the Phoenixes. Is going to try and attack the army at his base here. This is not going to go well. His entire army is going to go down here. Yes, those mutas, it's just out micro. Plain well out micro. I really feel bad for MrCoffees, you know. The micro just wasn't there. But like I say, they're both level 1s, could both be learning. But MrCoffees is pissed, saying it's OP because of his lack of micro skills. So shitty micro means that whatever is attacking you is OP. We have learned a lesson here, folks, but not the last lesson, as I will teach you the quote of the day. When a tree stands in the woods, if that tree falls, my mama don't care. Thank you so very much for watching. Be good. Don't hurt nobody. Peace.